TSN proudly presents the CIAU National Volleyball Final from the Jack Simpson Gymnasium in Calgary, Alberta. In Friday night semifinals, Manitoba against York. Match tied, 1 game apiece. Manitoba serving for the game, and middle blocker Jason Gard gets the block to give Manitoba a 16-14 win in that pivotal third game. That set up Manitoba for match point, and once again it was Jason Gard serving, and fellow freshman Keith Sandheim puts it away as Manitoba advances to the final with a 15-4, 9-15, 16-14, 15-10 win. It was Calgary-Waterloo in the other semifinal. Waterloo Warriors faced an uphill battle against #1 ranked Calgary and the country's best player, Randy Gingerra. And in the end, Gingerra's jump serve was way too much for the Warriors as Calgary won 3 games to none to set the stage for the National Championship Showdown. We're in Calgary on the University of Calgary campus at Jack Simpson Gymnasium. The Manitoba Bisons will meet Calgary Dinosaurs for the CIAU men's volleyball title. There is seating for 3,500 plus. They're expecting a sellout and as many as 4,100 people with standing room in this absolutely beautiful facility, Jack Simpson Gymnasium. Hello again, everybody. I'm Vic Roeder. Welcome to Calgary. We're very pleased to be the first nationally televised event out of Jack Simpson Gymnasium. 8 teams began play here on Thursday night. Let's show you the road to the final 2. And Calgary began with a bit of a scare against 8th-ranked Dalhousie, losing the first game, but then bouncing back with 3 straight. And then they won over Waterloo 3 in a row, while Manitoba, the Bisons, they got a scare too, lost the first one to Sherbrooke, but then that seemed to get them rolling, and then they took care of York, the #3 ranked team, in the semifinal. Joining us as our expert commentator, the former head coach of the national women's team, Vic Lindo. It's been a while since we've worked together. Nice to see you again. First thing I notice about these 2 teams is Manitoba, a little inexperienced, while Calgary has all the age and experience in the world.
Well, the youth on Manitoba could be a disadvantage, but they are big, so that could come back. The experience on Calgary is clearly there. Not only just the experience playing at the university level, but the experience playing with national team, experience playing on the university national team. That will definitely play a big factor in this match.
First thing, or one of the things I noticed in the semifinals that we watched the other night was that they are big, Manitoba. A couple, 3, maybe 4 people at 6'7". You're never really sure what the statistics are going to say, but they are big, a little slower than Calgary.
Well, Dale Awanashto, the setter for Manitoba, is 6'7". Now, he was converted from an outside hitter and made into a setter. And when you've got somebody playing your right side that tall, it's really going to influence your blocking. It's going to influence the attack. Now, in the middle, you're going to have Paddock, and you've got Jason Gard. Jason Gard is a rookie, but he's experienced because he's taken a little bit longer to get to university than most. But Paddock is considered one of the best blockers in university volleyball in Canada, maybe in North America. So with him blocking the middle, I think that's going to, play a big dividend for the University of Manitoba.
We talk about Randy Gingerra. He is the CIAU Volleyball Player of the Year for Calgary, and the guy that's going to try and stop him is Mr. Paddock from Manitoba.
Well, Paddock's going to, and also Gard, because they're going to be the 2 middle blockers. Gingerra hits from everywhere. That's where the advantage is. He'll hit from the left front, he'll hit from the right front, and he'll also hit from the back row. He has an outstanding jump. I mean, he just literally skies. Not only does he sky, but he's picked up the ability to hit around blocks, hit through blocks, and find open spots. Al Taylor worked with him this summer with the university team, and Al Taylor's a veteran, wily devil himself when he played, and so he's taught Gingerra some of his tricks from this summer. Greg Ryan said that Gingerra was known as Mr. Fan Appreciation because he used to spray a lot of balls up into the stands. Now he puts them into the court. Can you imagine with that height, that ability, and he hits them in the court? Brian Watson of the national team is looking forward to Gingerra graduating this year.
And some of them sprayed right in front of us. You didn't even flinch. You know, Manitoba may feel just a little bit lucky to be here because they've been rebuilding, but not Calgary. They're #1, so maybe Greg Ryan's squad is battling a little bit of overconfidence.
Well, I wouldn't say so, Vic, because I think that Manitoba is a formidable opponent. It's the first time that our team's been in the CIAU finals in the time that I've coached. They have a big team, a well-disciplined team, very well-coached team, and it's team that we haven't met in quite a while. So we're looking to use our speed to neutralize their blocking ability, see if we can take away some of their attack capabilities, and by doing that, put ourselves in a good position to win the match.
It's a different year for us. I think one of the things that I try and do with my program every year is to bring in a few young kids, and it just so happened that we lost a couple key players last year, and we have to really rely on these young kids. They've been forced into starting roles, and I've been nothing more than pleased at the effort that they've put in this year.
All right, what do you think? Can this youthful Manitoba side knock off the wily veterans of Calgary?
Well, the one wily veteran that we haven't talked about is Garth Fischke, because he's had more experience coaching at this level, I think, than any other coach. I mean, he's been in the finals so many times. He knows what it's like. He's talked to his team. He said to him, he said, look, you want your chance to prove that you can play well against Calgary. You've only played them once this year. He also said that Calgary's been playing out of the province and playing down in the States, and they haven't had a lot of Canadian competition. So there's some experience that we have to count on. But there's no question. Calgary is solid, steady. They also have a sports psychologist that keeps them solid and steady. Right. So they're not going to get carried away with the emotion. They're going to be steady. At the same time, Manitoba is saying, we want the crowd because we're going to relish on it.
Tell me something. Do you think that with all these balls around us, they want us to play tonight? Maybe so. No, we'll just sit upstairs in the booth and bring you all the great action. We're at the University of Calgary, and it is the Dinosaurs, the Bisons, the CIAU men's volleyball final.
Hey, Eddie, the cars from the 50s, remember?
Yeah, and how we used to dream of owning one.
Hey, you, the 57 Corvette, huh?
Yeah, and you, the 56 T-Bird. Oh, I miss those cars, Norm.
They're back. The Franklin Mint brings back the cars of the 50s. Classics like the 57 Corvette, 56 Thunderbird, 59 Cadillac Eldorado, 12 imported, authentically detailed die-cast dream machines in the classic 1:43 scale. Remember how you dreamed of owning a Continental Mark II, the Studebaker Starliner, the Buick Skylark?
Norm, this is a dream come true. Tell me, Eddie, tell me.
They're all back. Fantastic recreations of the originals, handcrafted with up to 50 separate components, hoods and doors that open, tail fins, bucket seats, detailed engines, each hand-polished in its original colors. Quality found on custom replicas costing hundreds of dollars and more.
Hey, Norm, how long did you and Susie go steady?
Right up until she sold her T-Bird.
To start your Franklin Mint Cars of the 50s collection, call 1-800-447-7654. Get one imported model every other month for an incredibly low $75, payable in 2 monthly payments of only $37.50 each. Order by credit card and save the COD service charge. You'll also receive this handsome custom-designed wall display.
Eddie, remember sitting in the drive-in eating our fries, just wishing we owned one of them beauties?
Yeah, and now we can own them all!
Order now and get this fascinating Cars of the 50s binder, including specs of each car and reprints of the original ads at no extra charge. Call 1-800-447-7654 and get the cars you always dreamed of owning.
I love it, Norm. I love it.
A great crowd on hand here at Jack Simpson Gymnasium for the CIAU men's volleyball final, slowly filling up to 3,500 plus. And they call him Dexter. Dexter Dino is glad that TSN is here for this first nationally televised event. And here are the starting six for Calgary. The back row from left to right, Kevin Boyles, Sean Wallach, and Kelly Grosky. The front row, the CIAU player, is Randy Gingera. Tom Elser is in the middle, number 15, and Scott Miller, number 3, one of the first-year players. But really, this is a veteran squad that'll represent the number 1 ranked Dinos here at home tonight. For Winnipeg, for Manitoba, University of Manitoba, from Winnipeg, in the back row, Steve Welsh, Dale Iwanoshko, and Keith Sandheim. Up front, from left to right, Jason Gard, Russ Paddock. Nick Lindell talked so much about Paddock and his blocking ability, and Soren Pedersen, the Danish star. Handling the net in the chair from Sherbrooke, Quebec, is Jean-Guy Goulet. And the other referee, Elias Suetti of Ottawa.
John Guillette is a very experienced referee. I can remember refereeing with him a good number of years ago. And the thing about John Guy is he's so calm and so quiet. He's also very big and very intimidating. So we might not have a whole lot of guys going over to discuss calls with a victory.
Calgary, the Dinosaurs in their home reds. Manitoba in white with the bison brown shorts and neck collars. And Calgary has won the coin toss. And Scott Miller to serve. And first point for the Dinos.
Set a little bit too tight, and Elser was right up there and just stuffed it down immediately. But it also started from a good short serve.
The 24-year-old Miller, 1-0 Dinosaurs leading. Iwanoshko gets it over, block. Kelly Grosky with a block.
Kelly Grosky is the setter, but he's also a dynamite outside blocker. But watch what Scott Miller's doing. He's putting him in trouble with the short serves.
Elser up, as well as Grosky, saved by Miller. And Boyles tries to put it away, but it's long. 2-0 Dinos leading after first serve.
Well, that's a little shaky start for Keith Sandheim. He's a young player, and they need they need him to do well at the beginning of the game.
Sandheim to serve for Manitoba here in game one. Oh, just a little tip over by Kelly Grosky, and it's service Dinos.
Grosky's a front row setter in that occasion, and he's also left-handed, so he jumps up and he doesn't just tip it in, he smacks it.
Grosky, Iwanoshko gets it up. Pedersen off the block. Out of bounds, change of service, Manitoba.
Soren Pedersen, former player with the Danish national team, he's 27 years old. He's starting, but the real question is how long will he stay in the game?
Iwanoshko serving for Manitoba. Oh, Gingera. Looked like he was going to spike. Welsh over, they set it up. And off the block, it was Big Tom Elser at 6'6", the 24-year-old second-year management student.
On this particular play, we see that the shot off to the side, so they move Elser away from the middle block in order to get through that time.
Iwanoshko gets it up. Saved. Look at them. Elser gets it back.
Great recovery, but the ball crossed the net outside of the antenna. Elser, having played for the national team, and he also played in Europe, is a very experienced player and was a member of Calgary a few years ago and has come back.
Paddock serving. Off the hands of Iwanoshko. Side out, and Dinos will serve.
Sean Wellick would be pleased with that. He's from Penticton, BC, and he's not going to be set a whole lot of time, so he's going to be real happy when he does get a set and get it in play.
Interesting, there was Gingero with that jump service, and it was long. Gingera. Nothing very fancy. In fact, not the kind of start I expect from Calgary. They're just sort of finessing them to death.
Well, finessing, but what they're doing is they're not running the 51. Garth's looking them over, trying to figure out what's going on, because I think Garth expected them to run quick right in the middle. They're running quick in the 31 position.
Grosky and Boyles make it 3-0 for Calgary here in game one. Pedersen, Iwanoshko, he's it for Welsh.
Net violation called on Calgary, but young Steve Walsh is the guy that is the future star of volleyball in this country. Already he has a jump where he can touch 11 feet 7 inches.
And Welsh serving. Oh my, put away quickly by Kevin Boyle.
The right side hit there was not just a high ball, but it was a quick back set. And watch how Grosky goes up with the jump set, and he held the blocker, and he gets a 1-on-0. Now the key was that Grosky went with the jump set and held one blocker. Take a look at Guard coming back now.
Jason Guard, the 19-year-old first-year middle blocker for Manitoba, gets service back. Calgary leading 3-0 over Manitoba in game one of the CIAU University men's final. Elser, and off the block, and out of bounds, change of serve.
Very interesting strategy. As they're moving for the 31, which is pulling those blockers out of their normal rotation. And normally Garth would bring the left front in. Now he's having to bring the right front player in to cover on the block.
Welsh gets it up. Iwan Oshko leaves it. Paddock off the block. And out of bounds. Change of serve. It'll be Bison serve. Greg Ryan in his 4th year, the 1986 Coach of the Year. Has his Dinosaurs in the final. Roski Gingera. Great dig by the Bisons. Set up. Pedersen tries a little tip. Little confusion, but Dinos get it over. Pedersen off the net. Good dig by Wallach. Roski. Iwan Oshko.
Net violation on Calgary. You could hear on our mic down on the floor, you could hear the Calgary team calling the 31. So the players are actually calling it right in the middle of the play.
Keith Sandheim serving for the Bisons. They trail 3-0, and Elser off the block.
Absolutely dynamite shot of Elser down the line.
Elser, who has seen time in Europe, played on the national team. Boyles, Krosky sets it up. Elser, great dig, and out of bounds. Jason Garden was there, but couldn't control it.
But that's an example, though, of the problem. That the play is a good play there by Elser hitting it down, but it all started on a poor service reception earlier.
Pedersen gets it up. Paddock off the block. Putting between Elser and Gingera.
And they're moving Paddock around a little bit, too, because they had Paddock out on the right side that time. Most people would have expected Paddock to be hitting more in the middle.
Iwan Oshko to serve for Manitoba, 4-1. And there's Elser across the middle to get the service right back.
Well, that was a dynamite shot because he was fading to the left and then just caught that one and totally baffled the block. It was an incredible shot.
Tom Elser to serve. Sandheim gets it up. Iwan Oshko, Paddock keeps it alive. Iwan Oshko, Pedersen.
Pedersen managed to get up there and just hit that ball hard. He was off balance, and the block put that out of bounds. Pedersen, former national player with Denmark.
4 years with the Danish national team. Wallach seemed to come out of nowhere and just tip it over the middle.
Well, let's face it, they're going to be focusing on all of the other players. So when you're focusing on the other players and you can bring Sean Wallach around like that, that is a great play.
Iwan Oshko sets it up. Sandheim. Iwan Oshko leaves it. Jason Guard put it into the block, but get it over.
I love the emotion of Boyles. You know, there is one thing you've got to do. When you make that stop block, get excited. Don't focus the energy on the other side, but just get excited. Feel good about it.
Oh, there's that jump serve by Gingera, and it's 6-1 Dinosaurs leading, and a timeout has been called.
I would think that would be appropriate. The spike serve that you saw Gingera do, that was the best serve in the Olympics in '84. You're jumping and spiking the ball in the air, which allows you to drive it down with spin serve. We can take a look at it again. He gets right over top. Watch how he comes up there. Up and right over top. And in this case, right down the line, the top 8 servers in the '88 Olympics in Korea were all spike servers.
Head coach from the University of Manitoba, Garth Fischke, having a chat with his Bisons. They trail 6-1. There's the CIAU Volleyball Player of the Year, Randy Gingera, to serve again. Game 1 of this final. Sandheim gets it up. Iwan Oshko is there. Pedersen comes across.
They ran a combination play that time. That's rather interesting because Garth Fischke's team has been a pretty straight-ahead team. And now with that X in there, it shows that they do have some combination plays.
Boyles tips it over. Iwan Oshko sets it up. And it was Steve Welsh putting it right through Kelly Grosky.
Well, I think Kelly would like to have got out of the way of that because it was going out of bounds by about 3 feet, but when it's coming right at you, don't always make the right decision.
6-2. Calgary leading. 6-3 as the Bisons pick up another point. Soren Pedersen, the 27-year-old Dane. And there was Kevin Boyles going up and over.
The traditional attack, Vic, is to try and go right next to your setter and hit what we call a 51. They've moved it right away from the center, which I think is confusing Manitoba slightly at this point.
Sean Wallach couldn't make the dig on the spike. Steve Welch to serve for Manitoba. They trail 6-3 here in game one. Ginchera, Sanheim gets it back. Grosky, Boyles.
That's the first time that they've used Randy Ginchera out of the back row, and we have him coming right out of the back row. As long as you leave behind the 3-meter line, you're quite all right. Let's see if they do it now. There it is. Oh, there's the guy in the middle, out of bounds.
Steve Welch's service was a little long, Vic. 6-4, Calgary leading. 6-4 over Manitoba. Kevin Boyle serving. Into the net. It's something coaches hate.
They get a bit depressed. I used to really get upset about it, but I'm less upset now if the person is going for an ace serve.
Boyles, Grosky, Elser 10. The block is there. Paddock, Iwanoshko.
Well, that is a fearsome block when you've got two guys 6'7". And what happened is Elser tried to do a one-man net, fakes it, and then he goes up, but they read it. See, so he faked and then went up, but they read it all the way.
Kept alive, Ginchera.
Net violation called on Manitoba as Randy Ginchera came out of the back row, this time from the left side.
Now we've seen a few of the net violations. Are they just losing their spacing? They're playing awfully close.
Well, you've got to try and penetrate. You've got to try and go over the net on the block. So there are going to be occasions when you do touch the net.
Sanheim goes up. Guard Sanheim. 7-5. Calgary leading Manitoba. The Bisons have come back. Miller serving Sanheim. Iwanoshko puts it up. Sanheim.
Garth Fiske said that Sanheim, in his opinion, was the best high school graduate in North America last year. And here he is going as a high school graduate right into first string and right into the national championship, and he just hit that ball down.
Sanheim serving. Far too long.
But when you're a young player and still a little bit experienced, you're going to be a little bit aggressive.
And there's Garth Fiske doing exactly what a coach would do. Shake his head once those serves in. Off the block of Wallach and Elster.
Sean Wallach, very excited to be over there and be part of that block. He's not considered one of the biggest players. He's certainly experienced, but not expected to be that outstanding. We're going to touch up the block that time.
Side out, it'll be Manitoba serving with Calgary leading 8-5 here in game one of the CIAU men's volleyball final. Iwanoshko. Ginchera gets it up. Oh, lovely back.
I did it. Kelly Grosky goes down. An interesting story on Kelly is that Greg Ryan, now you take a look at how low he gets. He did get a good pass. He went down low, and then he made the back set and totally had the block confused. But Greg Ryan, believe it or not, cut Kelly when they were naming their Canada Games team for Alberta. Kelly's come back to prove that Greg didn't make a great decision back in '85.
Manitoba serving with Calgary leading 8-5. Paddock. Elser gets it up. Grosky, Ginchera.
Brilliant combination to the right, which shows the versatility of Ginchera. So Wallach faked, which held the block. Ginchera came right over top. You could call that a tandem on the right-hand side.
Ginchera, the third-year fine arts student. Pedersen gets up and takes back the service for Manitoba. 8-5, Calgary leading here in game one. Soren Pedersen. Ginchera. Grosky back to Ginchera. You know, you almost see that so often, you know it's coming.
Well, not necessarily, because the thing is, you don't always expect somebody to come out of the back row like that, particularly when there's only 2 hitters in the front row. Now, that's exactly what Garth said that they'd have to watch out that they didn't do. That they didn't overload too much when there's only 2 hitters in front, because Gingera can come out of the back row. But at the same time, the left front has to come over there and think about being involved in the middle.
Sanheim put it out of bounds. It's 9-5 Calgary. Too many touches off the net. Dale Iwanoshko, the 6'6", 20-year-old for the University of Manitoba, is going to go into medicine next year. Now 11-5 as Calgary starts to pull away. Another timeout has been called by the Bisons. Garth Fischke wants to have a chat. We'll have more when we come back.
McCain's super fast breakfast. Just pull off the tabs, pop it in your microwave, and in just 3 minutes, it's ready. A full and delicious breakfast. Super fast breakfast from McCain. The full breakfast you thought you didn't have time for.
Lunchtime, and drinking box for lunchtime.
McCain drinking boxes. You see them everywhere. And it's all because of the fruit. The fresh taste and goodness of fruit is McCain's #1 priority.
Drinking box of fruit makes the drinking box.
Garth Fischke still having a few words with his Bisons. They clawed their way back. They were down 6-1. They got within 1, and now it's 11-5. Calgary has pulled away again.
Anything can happen, and particularly in this game. And it's a good idea that Garth settled them down. Sanheim, again, one of the top players in the country, and he was only out by a matter of inches. That's an absolutely perfect spot to hit it in that last 1 meter of the court. But you've got to get those in as well.
12-5. Calgary leading. Iwanoshko sets it up. Welsh, great dig by Gingera. Miller up front. And off the block by Steve Welsh.
Watch Steve Welsh, because that young man is the future star of Canadian University Volleyball. So take a look at Gingera now. You're going to see what Walsh is going to look like in a year or 2.
Oh, there Sanheim gets one in. He finds the floor.
Well, I'm very impressed with Sanheim, because earlier in the tournament, I was a little discouraged because I thought he'd hit too many balls out of bounds. But he's doing, I think, very well out here.
Miller just tips it over. Iwanoshko sets it for Sanheim off the block.
Sanheim being able to take that shot. Don't forget, you know, you're in a game like this, and you hit a ball out of bounds, and then go up and hit the ball off the block. That shows great maturity for a young player.
12-7, Calgary leading. Boyles just tips it over. Iwanoshko sets it up. Paddock. Wallach. Brodsky sets it up. Gingera's there.
But the tiny little thing that happened there is Steve Walsh came right out of the back row and picked up that dip shot right in the middle of the court.
Timeout has been called now by Calgary, as Manitoba is in 4. We'll have more when we come back.
It's become known as the 5th Grand Slam. In its short history, the Lipton International Players Championship has produced some of the most talked about matches of the year.
Runners want to call. A lot of folks in the crowd want to call. He's not going to get it. Jeremy Sales is indicating he agrees with the line.
The Lipton International, the championship final, plus bonus semifinal action starts Thursday, March 30th and only on TSN.
Welcome back to the Jack Simpson Gymnasium. Calgary leading by 4 in Game 1 of the CIAU men's volleyball final. Manitoba serving. Welsh. Brodsky gets it up.
Net violation. They were in there tight. They were on top of it. If you notice what Welsh did there, he served it really deep and actually put Gingera in a little bit of trouble on that serve reception.
Boyles to serve for Calgary. Oh, look at that. Jason Gard getting up and over, finding the middle of the floor.
And Jason Gard, though, faked a little bit to his left and then came back and hit it on the right. It was an incredibly well-executed play.
19-year-old Jason Gard serving, and Sanheim comes through.
Sanheim has to come through if they're going to win it, because we know about Paddock, we know about Iwanoshko. but it's Sandheim and the Welsh that have to make the difference.
He tried it down the sideline, and it sort of fluttered and floated out. Scott Miller serving for Calgary. They lead 12-9. Iwanoshko sets it up. Sandheim. And there was Elser with the block.
Not over. Sandheim trying to bring it down too sharply that time. I remember Jason Garden when he played for West Kildonan in Winnipeg.
13-9. Calgary in front. Chinchera gets it up. Boyles. Oh, my. Just a little short. Just in front of Pedersen.
Well, we see a fight at the net. An incredible recovery. And then you watch Boyles now as he comes up and just half speeds it, just drops it in. Half speed often kills.
Calgary serving for the game. 14-9. They lead. Chinchera. And Calgary has won game 1 of the CIAU men's final. 15-9, the final score here in game 1. More when we come back to Calgary.
How would you explain it? A woman in Wisconsin is doing the dishes when suddenly she's possessed by a terrifying feeling. She's positive that her young daughter has just been in an accident. She quickly makes a desperate phone call, only to learn that her feeling was true. How would you explain this? A dozen people around the world who never met each other describe an encounter with a being from space, and their descriptions of the creature match almost exactly. And how do you explain this? A man's heart stops beating in a hospital, and he sees a blinding light that doesn't frighten him, but fills him with an indescribable feeling of peace. And how can you explain the growing number of people who feel that they've had a brush with something beyond our everyday understanding? Maybe no one can fully explain these things, but they can no longer be ignored. That's why Time Life takes a serious look into this world with a remarkable new series, Mysteries of the Unknown, to provide an objective and comprehensive look at what may lie beyond our ordinary reality. How can you explain this? 4 men are drawn to an ancient Anglo-Saxon fort, site of a fierce battle. They enter the shadows of a ring of trees, and without warning, one of them is grabbed by an unseen force, lifted 5 feet in the air, and suspended for 30 full seconds. There are so many hints of a world more remarkable than we ever imagined, and of abilities that we barely suspect.
Mommy, all I could think of was you. I know.
Send for your first volume on a free trial basis, and see if you can explain these things away.
To order your first book, Mystic Places, call 1-800-255-8400. Examine it for 10 days. Keep it and pay just $16.99 plus shipping and handling. Other books will follow. One about every other month. Keep only the ones you want. Cancel anytime. Call 1-800-255-8400.
Manitoba wins the first game 15-9.
Randy Gingera was the man who did it. Very interesting to watch. The great recovery in the back row. Now, with 3 people over the block, and he cuts it inside, showing the versatility of this outstanding player.
And sorry, Vic, I said Manitoba. It was Calgary winning the first game 15-9 over the Bisons.
Manitoba was clearly showing that they deserved to be here, that they deserved to be in this final. And when you're playing a 3 out of 5 final and you're feeling things out in the first game, 15-9 is a very respectable score, and it also means that Manitoba can come back. Calgary used some different offensive tactics. Now, how tough can Manitoba serve now to, not allow them to run those quick attacks?
Sandheim serving. Gingera puts it up, and it's Elser coming over the top to get the serve right back.
Elser goes very well to the right side. And you watch him as he comes around, nice back set. But the thing was, he faked to the left and then came around to the right. More players have got to learn that shot, and more players in Canada have got to learn to hit right side the way Tom Elser did just then.
The 2-time All-Canadian Dale Iwanoshko serving for Manitoba. Oh, great Iwanoshko dig.
Well, you got a man 6'6", making a flying dive at the play like that, like Iwanashko, you've got to be impressed.
The third-year setter from Selkirk, Manitoba.
And on the university team this summer, Al Taylor was telling me that Iwanashko is one setter and Kelly Grusky is the other setter, and he just alternated them on their tour all across Europe.
1-0, Manitoba leading here in game 2. Off the block, oh my, Paddock got up.
Paddock was there, but you've got to go back to the serve. It was the serve that created that. He watched the Manitoba team looking over to see where they're going to make the block.
Ginchera. Elser moves up to the back. Grosky, and there's Elser again.
And as I suspected, Peter Strolius is in there now, and it was just a matter of time as to whether he would go in. Yeah. Peter Strolius is into the game.
Tom Elser serving for Calgary. They trail 2-0 here in game 2. Iwanashko, Stidrolius.
See, Strolius is the kind of player that can go in for more than one player. So Garth had to start him on the bench to just see which players were going to be playing well.
Soren Pedersen, the 27-year-old Dane, is out for Manitoba. Stidrolius is in. Great recovery to keep it alive. Oh, look at Guard over the top and puts it between Boyles and Ginchera.
That's what you call splitting the block. You want to find a way that you can create a situation so you don't have to go through a guy, but split between the two blockers. And if they don't close it, go right between them.
Ginchera still alive. Paddock over. Ginchera, and it's the serve that impresses you. Sanheim gets it up. Paddock. Welsh.
Rowe is Steve Walsh playing well. I mean, it was the spike serve, but a great reception. Absolutely incredible by Sanheim. Now take a look at how high this guy gets. He is at 11.7. And by the way, Garth Fischke had the record in Canada of 11 feet, 11 inches. He said, Walsh is going to beat that. But not too long, he said.
Change of service, Calgary to serve, trailing 3-0 here in game 2. Dinosaurs won game 1, 15-9. Sean Wallach from Penticton, BC, the third year. His head student serving. Dugout. Welsh. Great get by Grosky.
Whoa, Jason Guard was there. He was quick, he was on it, but he just touched the net.
Jean-Guy Ouellette calling the net violation on Jason Guard as he has a look up at the referee. Garth Fischke, in his 12th year as Bison's head coach, has won 4 CIAU titles, has a chance for another one here. Ginchera
coming out of the back row yes, I think he is back row. And he just mistimed it and thought when he mistimed, he gets up so high though, when you mistime it, you still have many opportunities. And he tried a half speed that just didn't work at all.
Grosky saw the open space and then Welsh couldn't get there in time. It's 3-1, Manitoba leading here in game 2. Boyle serving, Iwanashko, Ginchera, Grosky, Ginchera. Oh, Paddock and Guard climbed all over each other.
Big play, though, with Strolius in the back row with a one-hand dig. I mean, that was exceptional. So there could be some changes in this game having Strolius in there, but that wasn't one of them. They just served him, and he just misfired totally.
And there is Stidrolius putting it off the back of Guard, and then Welsh couldn't recover. And so we're all tied. It's 3-3. Kevin Boyle serving. Stidrolius, Iwanashko, Guard. Ginchera.
Randy Ginchera very close to that 3-meter line. He's in the back row. Look at the recovery. And there he is taking off and putting it, and again, not down the line, but putting it right between center back and left back.
Russ Paddock makes the spike to get service back. 4-3 Calgary leading here in game 2 after they won the first one, 15-9.
Manitoba in a good position now. Paddock back in the front row. And also Iwanashko is up there and Sandheim. So that's 3 6'6" or better players in the front row right now.
Jason Guard serving. Gingera. Off Iwanashko's block. Change of serve. Calgary will get it.
Notice again, Randy Gingera looked like he was a front row player that time because he leaped so far, but he was really in the back row. And when he ended up, he was at the front.
Sandheim played it forward for Iwanashko, and he actually played it over the net. Iwanashko. Paddock. Wallach keeps it alive. Gingera misfires as he turns. Change of serve. Manitoba will have it, trailing 5-3 here in game 2. Keith Sandheim, the 19-year-old, 6'7" first year. Middle blocker. Elser goes to the far side and puts it out of bounds. It's now 5-4. Greg Ryan, the Dinosaurs head coach, undefeated this season, playing games in Canada, 26-0. Guard keeps it up. Net violation.
Net violation on Manitoba. They're maybe being a little bit too aggressive there. We've got some of the statistics in. It's rather interesting that number 14, Kevin Boyles, had a 63% kill percentage, which is actually very good. So 63% of the time he put the ball to the floor. But the big statistic is Tom Elser at 83% kill percentage. Randy Gingera only 46%, but don't forget he hit an awful lot of balls.
Boyles keeps it alive, and it's Brodsky. Elser over, Sandheim, Iwanashko, setting it up. And Stedrolia with the kill.
Stedrolius could make the difference because he seems to be able to get by. He seems to play pretty fair defense. It was a sort of a calculated risk by starting Peterson. Now, Stedrolius could make that difference and see them come back in this game. Missed time by Gingera.
Now, does he change his mind midway through that leap of his? Is that what's happening?
No, he's taking off. In that case, he's taking off a little bit too soon. He should have waited a little bit. Wait for it. See, he's got an awful lot of different plays that he makes. Like whether it's a quick play or a high play. So on those high ones like that, he's just got to take his time.
3,500 plus on hand for this men's CIAU volleyball final.
I just got a result in from the CIAU women's volleyball final. They had a big upset, which we know about yesterday, where the University of Calgary beat University of Winnipeg for the first time Winnipeg's ever lost in a CIAU as long as I can remember. But they had another big upset today when Laval managed to beat Winnipeg in the bronze medal game.
Gingera, Sandheim, all he could do was dive and get just a little piece.
Okay, the ball is, look, great recovery, absolutely incredible. The defense was super. Gingera had 3 people on him, and he put it deep into the corner. So we see Gingera putting the ball down sharply. We see him putting it deep into the corner. But the big thing is we see him going by 3 big blockers.
Elser with the serve, Sandheim, Iwanashko, and Gingera just reached over and put it down. It's now 8-5 Calgary leading Manitoba.
Take a look at the 3 front row people, taking a look over to see who they're going to block, because that's so important for blockers.
Stedrolius gets it through the block of Gingera, and there again is Stedrolius, number 7.
Stedrolius is quietly effective. See, he was really off balance and was hitting the ball behind him, but because he has so much intensity, he's bound to determine it's going to get in. Sean Wallach pretty happy to be able to come in and make those plays. He's not a man that they're going to count on to hit a whole lot of balls, but so far tonight, he's been effective every time he has hit it.
8-5, Calgary leading Manitoba. Gingera with the serve. Stradrolius just gets it back. Oh, Kevin Boyles is there.
Kevin Boyles deciding that after that very hard spike serve, you see, the spike serve put them in trouble, and he's right over top of it. But it all came from the spike serve of Gingera.
It's 9-5, Calgary leading. Gingera to serve again. Zidolia, Ioannashko sets it up. Welch tips it over, and he put it through the hands of Wallace.
I think that he would count himself as rather lucky on that one, that he had to reach that good spike serve, and again, put them in a little bit of trouble because, see, Ioannashko had a difficult time setting that ball effectively. So Grosky went to Wallach that time. Now Grosky looking it over, see who he's going to go this time. Is it Miller, Wallach, or Boyles? I'm counting on Boyles.
Now 9-6. Stradolius serving for Manitoba. Elser can't control the service.
Stradolius has been a big factor in this game. You know, he's been getting the ball through, but he's also been very effective when he goes way back in the court for this serve.
Boy, does he use every bit of floor space here at the Simpson Gymnasium. Gingera up high. Grosky sets it up. Miller. Stradolius. Ioannashko. Grosky just tipped over. Welch. Net violation.
John Hewlett indicating that Jason Guard was on the net. Jason maybe having a little discussion with him.
Not the first time he's been called for that. Wallach to serve. 9-7, Calgary leading.
And we're calling the Calgary team for going over the net before the attack has been completed.
Scott Miller coming through the netting.
I'm going to say that Stradrolius, when he went back to serve on that last series of rotations, goes way back, but serves the ball harder than most people do. Ioannashko was very quick because that ball was on its way over. It looked like it was being set to the outside. He was just right up there and stuffed it.
9-8, and look at Welch now as he moves up to the baseline. Gingera.
And here's the first time he's been called. Now he's a back row player, and the umpire picked him up because you see his toe was right on the 3-meter line. He's got to be behind it, so there's a clear example of that 3-meter line.
It's now 9-9. Manitoba has battled back again.
Imagine you had the power to visit yourself in the future.
Wow. Nice boat. We win a lottery or something? No. We just took some advice from a London Life representative. But we don't like life insurance. Freedom 55 is more than life insurance. Here, hold this. A financial program protects the family and the future.
Imagine the freedom of Freedom 55. Talk to a London Life representative.
How's the wife? Not married yet. Won't be long.
Timeouts just breaking. And it's really nice to see. They knew if Calgary would make it to the final, they would have all kinds of dinosaur fans out, and they have turned out. It's a full house, 3,500 plus. 9-9 tie here in Game 2.
And I think the fans are very knowledgeable here because we've had the national team is located here. They've had a lot of international play here, and you've got maybe one of the more knowledgeable crowds in the country.
Sandheim puts it away, and Manitoba has taken the lead, and for the very first time in this match, they're on top. Gingera finds the back corner. Change of service. It'll be Kevin Boyles to serve for Calgary. They trail by 1. Gingera saying, come on, let's go, boys. Guard, Gingera. Nice dig by
the block was there, but he hit it right into him, and the ball's out of bounds. But I've got to be impressed with the serving. Now notice here, deep ball dug beautifully in the back row. Now watch this. He goes right up and smacks it in, and he's not up. Oh, yeah, is he impressed with that one? He says, give me another one. I'm going after that block. Remember, he's one of those rookies.
Change of serve. Manitoba leading now by 2. It's 11-9. Calgary to serve. Scott Miller.
Sandheim considered one of the best of high school graduates last year in North America. Quite a change around,
yes. Manitoba, the Bisons to serve.
Sandheim, very impressed. He took a deep breath, let it out before this serve.
Elser off the block and out of bounds. Change of service.
Well, Manitoba could take a little bit of solace in that because they were actually got their hands on Elser that time. Deep ball out of bounds and no touch.
Tidroli is putting it out of bounds. Dinosaurs within 1. It's 11-10. Manitoba leading. Grosky serving. Sandheim. Iwanashko puts it up. Tidroli is off the block. Guess who's there? Mr. Elser.
They're not. Strolius is not going to get by if they set that ball inside on him. You see, he brought the ball inside, and there were 2 blockers just standing there waiting for him. Strolius needs the ball on the outside. Timeout now being called by Garth Fischke. Very appropriate as he sees Calgary starting to come back.
A reminder to stay with us after the game for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Mita.
Or fax machines can reach out and send a copy to someone in just 15 seconds. Mita, all we make are great copiers.
Didn't even see it.
Greg Ryan has finished his conversation, but not Garth Fischke. After grabbing the lead, his team now trailing by 1 here in Game 2. Calgary up 12-11, but certainly a lot closer than I think many people expected.
Except maybe Garth Fischke. Garth might have thought it was going to be close. An interesting stat that I picked up I'll give you after this rally.
Paddock.
On the service reception, Manitoba had a 70% service reception where they put the pass up so that the setter could either set 3 or he was pretty close to it. But Calgary had 78%, and that was a big difference. If you can get those balls up there like that, then you can run those plays.
Iwanashko sets it up for Welch. He couldn't get it through the block, and again it was Elser there leading the block, this time also with help from Gingera.
Now the question is, who is Iwanashko going to go to this time? I'd bet on Paddock.
Elser serving for Calgary. Iwanashko. Titolius. Gingera. Boiled there. Right back in their face, and it's 13-11, Calgary.
Strolius back to receive, along with Sandheim. So Keith Sandheim, 6'7", first-year PE student, being put up with a fair amount of responsibility to be a major serve receiver. That time they went to go for him and put it out of bounds.
13-11, Calgary leading Manitoba. Russ Paddock serving. Gingera, Grosky, and Boyles finishes it off.
Well, Grosky went back to what they were effective with earlier, which is the 31 shot. We can watch it one more time as he goes through there, splits the block because the block went to get the back set, and the 31 was wide open.
Gingera, Paddock digs it out. Welch goes up. Gingera is there. Grosky, Elser. Oh! Sandheim had to go to his knees, brought to his knees by Elser.
Elser is one of our former national team players, and you can see why he is, but look at Welch, great cross-court hit. And now watch this ball out here. Sandheim is in position and almost recovers it. I didn't see what had happened there.
It's 14-11 in Calgary. Gingera will serve for game 2. Sanheim digs it out. Iwanoshko. Sidolius off the block. Manitoba stakes alive.
Australians has played very, very well. Remember the last time he went back to serve, too? He served very well. He's way back, and he hits the ball hard with an incredible float.
Sidolius. Drosky gets it up. Gingera.
Hitting the ball from everywhere. He's in the back row now, and he's getting as much action in the back row as he had in the front row.
Sean Wallach serving for Calgary. Game point. Iwanoshko gets it up. Sanheim off the block. Gingera is there. Drosky, just a little tip by Boyle. Great dig. Sanheim. Wallach keeps it alive. Sidolius. Iwanoshko. Sanheim. Drosky. Gingera. Oh! And the ball out of bounds. Iwanoshko made the dig, but couldn't keep it in play. And the University of Calgary now just one game away from a men's CIAU volleyball title.
The symbol of excellence, Rolls-Royce. And of all the magnificent automobiles bearing this crest, there is one single classic that surpasses all others, the legendary Silver Ghost. Now recreated by Franklin Mint Precision Models in a collector's piece so exceptional, it's the official model authorized by Rolls-Royce Motor Car. The Silver Ghost, only one was ever built. The 1907 masterpiece that established Rolls-Royce as the master car builder. It passed every endurance test of its time and still runs perfectly today. The priceless flagship of the Rolls-Royce line, now in a stunning die-cast model with protectively coated silver-plated trim. And assembled from more than 127 pieces. Each feature is authenticated by Rolls-Royce Motor Cars, like the removable spare timer, sterling silver-plated trim, exactly like the original. Tiny instruments, pedals, and controls. Engine detailing precise to the last spark plug. You can almost hear the ghost-like hum of its motor. Details to satisfy the most demanding car enthusiast and sophisticated collector. A showpiece for home or office. To order, call 1-800-543-1012. Use your credit card or mail $36.25 by check or money order to the Franklin Mint. You will be billed the balance in 3 monthly payments of $36.25 each. With your model comes a history and certificate of authenticity signed by Rolls-Royce Motor Car. The imported Silver Ghost is available only from Franklin Mint Precision Models with the die-cast metal craftsmanship of models costing thousands of dollars. Now only 4 payments of $36.25 each. Call 1-800-543-1012. The Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost, a most incredible model of the world's most incredible car.
There's nothing quite like owning a Rolls-Royce.
Dinosaur fans have reason to beat their drum. They lead 2-0. And on this final point, they win game 2.
A great recovery, but now we've got a set to the outside. With Sanheim in a little bit of trouble, but and right back here now. Iwanoshko out there, Sanheim having to reach back over his head. Now watch Grotsky as he sets the ball to the back row to Gingera. Absolutely outstanding.
They are saying this is the largest crowd to ever see an event here in Jack Simpson Gymnasium, and we are very pleased to be part of it. This CIAU men's volleyball final. Calgary leading 2-0. 24-year-old Scott Miller, the fourth-year education student, to serve for Calgary. Sanheim, Iwanoshko, Sidolius gets it over. And Manitoba with a quick start, getting the service right back.
Well, Manitoba shows that they're a very good team. Jason Guard right up the front row now. He's a very good blocker. He loves blocking. Stephen Welsh is going to sky on that ball and stand hands with him. They're looking over the combinations. They're figuring out which guys they're going to block because this time there's only 2 attackers in the front row. There's one attacker that they hadn't counted on, which is Nebraska. With a left hand, he can go up when he's in the front row and put it down right away. Greg Ryan rather happy with that.
To the Drolius, Iwanoshko, Welsh, Krosky gets it up and back. Wallace over to Drolius, Iwanoshko, Krosky with the dig, Boyle, Chinchera.
Well, we often get a good shot of Greg Ryan on the bench. He stays very calm. And he also has a sports psychologist there, Dr. Lars Field, with him on the bench. And Lars Field not only works for the team, but he helps Greg keep calm as well. One of the players was telling me, actually, was Sean Wallach, said that they did a little session beforehand, which is a power session that they did in preparation for this game.
Wallach goes up and puts it in front of the Bison block.
Well, Sean Wallach said that they did a power psychological session beforehand, so it obviously has helped him.
Still scoreless here in game 3. Paddock, Chinchera just over. Paddock sets it up. Iwanoshko, Welsh from the back.
I told you that young man is clearly destined for stardom in the Canadian University men's volleyball because he's in first year and he's coming out of the back row and putting the ball to the floor against Calgary, one of the best teams in North America.
Elser, way off to the side, then just over. Elser, Krosky, Chinchera, dug out by Guard.
But a net violation on Manitoba as Chinchera came out of the back row. When I mentioned that Calgary is one of the best teams in North America, they have beaten UCLA, they've beaten UofC, they've beaten Santa Barbara. The only team really of significance in the United States they lost to was University of Hawaii, and they lost a very tight match against them. And also Manitoba has beaten a lot of the very top United States teams as well.
And we talked about that the other night, how surprised I think many Canadians would be because you just assume that those are powerhouse schools for volleyball.
Well, those are powerhouse schools for volleyball.
In this country, but when you look at Hawaii and Santa Barbara and UCLA.
The key is that those schools that I just named are powerhouses in the United States, but when you talk about Manitoba, you talk about Calgary, you talk about playing even with those guys.
The Drolius, Sandheim over and out.
Often our high school players think, well, gee, maybe if I go down and play in the United States, it's going to be better. But it's been proven over and over again. If you play in Canada and you stay here and play with your university team, you've got the equivalent volleyball to anything that's being offered in the United States.
Manitoba leading 1-0. Wallach serving, and there was the Drolius.
Drolius is a quietly effective man, but this was set up because there were 2 blockers there, and we get only 1 man. You know, 1 man, Drolius is going to get by. But it was set up by the center, holding those 2 blockers together.
Let's be patient, let's try.
Iwanoshko serving for Manitoba. They lead 2-0. Oh, great get. Boyle, Guard, Iwanoshko.
Get it off his head. It was interesting watching Kelly Grosky that last series of plays because he looked over his players and he took a look before he made the set. He said, are you ready? Great presence of mind to be able to do that right in the middle of a play. Now, he'll be setting up. He'll be giving a signal to the numbers usually, or maybe he's already decided it. He's already given them the signal, so they know what to expect this time.
Elser, Grosky, Chinchera. No touch.
Well, the linesman is calling a touch. So we've got Greg Ryan up off the bench. We've got Randy Chinchera. We've got...
Oh, the man in the chair. Mr. Roulette is going with the linesman.
Well, the thing is that you have to get your linesmen to watch those touches. You have to rely on them. I know when I refereed, I said to the linesman, I'm getting a little old. I want you to get those touches for me.
And getting the serve back gets Calgary on the board. They trail 3-1 here in Game 3. They won 15-9 and 15-11 to take the first two. Boyle serving. Tredrolius.
Well, what we've got is we've got confusion on the service reception. So we've got Strolius and Sandheim there, and Boyle's going after Sandheim this time, but the previous two occasions he tried to put it right between the two of them, and maybe a little closer to Strolius. And that's what you have to do, you know, you have to figure out exactly where you're going to put it.
Paddock serving for Manitoba. Oh, and that one just dropped like a knuckleball.
That's exactly what it is. It's a float serve. There's an air turbulence builds up behind the ball. When the ball slows down to 10 meters per second, then the float takes over, the air turbulence takes over, and you don't know what it's going to do.
4-2 Manitoba. Ginchera. Krosky puts it up. Miller's there off the block. Ginchera keeps it alive. Wallach over.
Well, what happened was a double hit. The ball isn't allowed to go from one hand to the other. Russ Paddock will be remembering that one in his dreams.
4-2 Manitoba leading. Calgary to serve. Scott Miller. Sandheim. Iwanoshko. Welsh. And just out of bounds, it's 4-3. Miller. Iwanoshko. Tredrolius off the block of Ginchera, who stuffed it by 3 of them, and we're tied 4-4.
And the statistics that I have in from Game 2, take a look at that one more time. Take a look at the block. He's up there all by himself and stuffed that ball into an open spot. Oh, beautiful back set. Iwanoshko did, I think, one of the most incredible fakes you could have made, because he ended up getting a 1-on-0, and it was all done by the center. Watch how he fakes there. We have everybody in the middle, and Strolius comes out and puts it to the floor.
Well, even Ginchera had to smile. Boyles, Grosky, Elser off the block.
We've got a couple of statistics from the last game which shows why Manitoba was a lot closer in that game. 75% of their service receptions were up there that time, but Calgary still led them with a 76.3 serve reception average. You want to be over 70. Actually, you'd love to be up in the 80s to be very effective.
Grosky, Ginchera just gets it over. Tredrolius. Iwanoshko, guard, and the man in the middle, Elser. Tom Elser, 6'6", stuffs it right back, and Calgary leads 5-4.
Tom Elser, by the way, is going to be getting married this summer to Joanna Wright. They're both in management studies together.
More discussion with the linesman and the referee. The man in the chair, Jean-Guy Ouellette of Sherbrooke.
That's legal. And that was normal double hit.
Elias Suetti of Ottawa is the linesman.
Oh, I see what Manitoba was thinking. Maybe there was a double hit off that block, but everything was very legal.
Change of serve, and Manitoba will serve, trailing 5-4. Steve Welsh. Ginchera. And back.
Teams would like to try to serve to Randy Ginchera to take him out of the play, but you notice that he's so quick. He passed the ball, and he was still able to get back into the play and hit the ball to the floor.
Elser serving. Iwanoshko puts it up. Sandheim. And they keep trading serve here. 5-4. Calgary leading Manitoba in Game 3, with Calgary leading 2-0. Guard with the serve. Boyles. Off the block.
The statistic that I have from the last game also says Strolius had 57% of his kills to the floor, which meant he was one of the leading attackers for Manitoba, so it was a good substitution to get him back in.
Ginchera. Off the net. Haddock.
Net violation on Sean Wallach, so Manitoba gets the ball back. In that last game also, Tom Elser was the leading attacker. We have a wipe up on the floor. Elser had 69% of his balls to the floor in that last game, and Randy Gingera 58%. Got to remember, he gets a lot of balls set to him, so if he's putting them down 58%, that's rather impressive.
Sandheim serving for Manitoba. Gingera. Grosky. Gingera again. Sidolius keeps it alive. Guard. Haddock sets it up. And Sidolius from that corner, right on the edge of the net. That seems to be a favorite spot of his.
Well, good observation, Vic, because when you get that ball right out to the antenna, you have a few more options for the spiker. It's when you get jammed inside that he loses his options. When he's right out to the antenna, now that's jammed inside, and then it was blocked.
Oh, Welsh got there in time. Sidolius. What a great dig by Welsh to keep it alive, and then Sidolius was long with his spike.
But you notice you said his favorite spot was out the antenna. That time he was about 6 feet inside the antenna, which changed the angles that he had to hit.
Haddock in front of a diving Wallet. Manitoba will serve. They trail 6-5.
Something that they should use is use Paddock a little bit more on that right side, because every time he's hit on that right side, he has been effective.
Iwanashko. Gingera gets it up. Grosky quickly over. Sidolius a little long with his, wasn't a spike, he just almost palmed it too long. Boyle to the serve for Calgary. Iwanashko still alive. Welsh tips it over. Wallach keeps it up. Miller. Sidolius. Welsh.
Scott Miller needed to hit that ball a lot harder. I mean, just putting the ball back with a half speed is really giving the other team a free ball. Miller's got a great jump. The interesting thing is, though, he didn't play any volleyball in high school.
6-5. Calgary continue to lead. Haddock serving. Gingera. Grosky. Miller.
Miller again letting up on the attack. When he gets up there, you've got to pound it hard.
We're all tied at 6-6. Haddock. Boyles. Grosky. Oh, Elster quickly. Sandheim kept it alive. Iwanashko had to go 2 rows deep, but couldn't bring it back.
One of the very obvious things about volleyball is one of the only games in the world where you play a good portion of your game outside the boundary lines.
Miller serving. Sandheim over and out of bounds.
It touched the antenna on the way over, so now we're going to get a substitution. Let's see what happens here. Pedersen's going to come in for Sandheim. Pedersen should be a steadier serve receiver because he has that international experience. Sandheim has been playing well, but they're picking on him.
The second-year phys ed student started the game, but then was replaced by that man, Sidolius, who got it over. Gingera had to go over a 3-man block and just couldn't bring it down.
He was a little off balance, but it was clear that Manitoba had read it and said that the only guy they're going to go to is Gingera. Let's get 3 guys over there.
Sidolius with the serve. Calgary leading 7-6. Gingera. Oh, Iwanashko gets it up. Welsh. Elster. Grosky there to stuff it right back.
That's the kind of emotion that makes the difference. Players should be prepared to show their emotion like that. Grosky jumped up and Elser was happy about it.
Pedersen, the block by Wallach.
And the referee, John Guillet, calling a double hit. When that ball came back, went from one hand to the other.
It's now 8-6, Calgary leading Manitoba here in Grade 3.
Well, with Kelly Grosky back in the back row now, that gives him 3 attackers in the front row. Calgary's is in their strong position.
Guard long with his spike. It's now 9-6. And a timeout has been called by the University of Manitoba and head coach Garth Fishke. We'll have more when we return to the University of Calgary in just a minute.
If you think you don't have time for a full hot breakfast, take a look at this. McCain's Super Fast Breakfast. Just pull off the tabs, pop it in your microwave, and in just 3 minutes, it's ready. A full and delicious breakfast. Put a little zip in your morning with McCain Microwave Breakfast. They're ready in just 3 minutes. Super Fast Breakfast from McCain. The full breakfast you thought you didn't have time for.
It's going to be a long way back for the University of Manitoba. They trail 2 games to none, and in this game, 9-6. Oh, boy. The Dinosaurs have been dynamite this year, haven't they? They're going after their 4th and possibly 5th championship. They've already won the Vanier Cup for football, men's swimming, women's basketball. They have a chance here for men's volleyball, and the women's volleyball team is in the final of the women's final in Saskatoon.
And they're in the final against the University of Victoria, a battle that's been going on all year. They were 1st and 2nd in the Canada West. So, I mean, that will be an interesting final here tonight.
Pedersen over. And long. And it's now 10-6.
Iwanashko trying to figure out who he's going to set to get this side out. He hasn't been able to find anybody to get it by.
Well, look at that. Elser with the block. Help from Gingera.
Well, where would you go? You've got Gingera there. You've got Elser there. The idea would be to go over Wallach. Now we've got another substitution coming into the game.
John Blatcher is coming into the game. The 19-year-old, 6'1", first-year outside hitter, studying phys ed, replaces Sidrolia. So John Blatcher is into the game.
And naturally, Calgary's going to serve right at him. Garth Fischke trying anything now to break the momentum of Calgary. But that's an incredible front row there with Gingera and Elser now.
Blatcher gets it up. Pedersen in front of Boyles. And for Manitoba, the Bisons, it's about time because they trail by 6. Calgary in front 12-6.
Remember, you can only score when you're serving, and we've seen comebacks before. We saw Manitoba come back before, and they only lost at 15-11. Anything can still happen.
Boyles, Broski, Gingera. Off of Pedersen, who was a one-man block and couldn't.
Randy Gingera is going to get by any one-man block that's going to be set up anywhere in Canada.
Elser with the serve. Oh, and it just dropped in front of Paddock. He couldn't pick it off his shoe tops. It's now 13-6, 2 points away from a national championship for the Calgary Dinosaurs.
Well, let's see who they're going to serve it to this time. Paddock is a very good passer, and they likely shouldn't serve to him.
Sidrolius is back into the game. Paddock off the top of the net and out of bounds. It is now match point, championship point for the Calgary Dinosaurs. And Tom Elser is serving. But not yet.
That quieted the crowd down a little bit. I mean, they thought it was all over, but Manitoba wasn't prepared to believe that. Jason Gard putting the ball down.
Jason Gard waiting for the moment as the court is wiped up.
Manitoba's got a good front row. They have to put up a good block now. But Iwanashko and Paddock up there along with Pedersen.
Broski, Gingera. And out of bounds.
Well, I found it very impressive that Pedersen got on that ball, and he blocked it just out of bounds. Garth Fischke, very calm, but I'm sure not very calm inside.
And the crowd has come to their feet. Match point, Gingera serving. And there it is. The University of Calgary Dinosaurs have won the CIAU Men's Volleyball Championship. certainly disappointment for the University of Manitoba Bisons, who fall in 3 straight games.
The Manitoba team was really not able to take care of the hard hitting of Gingera.
Greg Ryan hoisted the shoulders of his dinosaurs, the CIAU men's volleyball champions.
Anything to say